What is going down, boys and girls of YouTube? It feels good to be back making Smite content that's new, and like I'm still learning it, and then I get to learn and figure it out and teach you guys. I don't know, it's nice. We're gonna get into it. We're doing top 5 hunters today. We did top 5 junglers the other day. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. And we have a lot to talk about on hunters. Just a lot to talk about hunters. They're all over the place. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen so much bad in high ranked games that it hurts my soul. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It is literally painful. So we're gonna talk about it. So our top 5 hunters. We're gonna go from number 1 back because towards the end we gotta talk about some stuff, right? And that just is what it is. So lifesteal has changed. Have to talk about this. You don't know why or how. They nerfed lifestealing on creeps by 50%. It feels a lot more significant than that. If you don't have more than one lifesteal item, you do not feel the lifesteal. It takes forever to lifesteal back up to full health. On top of that, they changed lifesteal items to have more healing. They have more lifesteal on them because they wanted to increase the amount you lifesteal on gods. Gods lifesteal, meaning the amount you lifesteal when you hit a god, is up 50%. The amount you lifesteal off of creeps is down not quite 50% because of the increase. But it's like 50, basically it's 50%. The numbers aren't the exact, but I've just seen a lot of comments about it, so I want to talk about it. If you don't have 2 lifesteal items or more, you don't feel it. I'm very real with you. You don't feel it. Everyone is building anti-heal now because they're realizing, you know, hunters are a problem. If you only have 1 lifesteal item, though, you're not a problem. They won't build anti-heal. So number 1 on our list is Hachi. The reason being Hachi just exploits everything about crit. He's by far the best crit hunter. So with the changes they did to class passives, I've talked about this in almost every video because I want everyone to know. Last year, every class had a passive. Hunter's passive was, and they were scaling passives from level 1, you know, level 2 went up, level 3 went up all the way to level 20. At max level 20, hunters were getting, I think it was 10% more in-hand damage, essentially. Instead of your in-hands doing 100% damage, they were doing 110% damage. So this was scaling up crit a lot and just scaling up autos a lot. They removed class passives. They're gone, which affects hunters, but not as much as you would think. The big thing with Hachi is Hachi's 1 still scales up that crit damage. You're getting a ton of in-hand damage that you weren't, you know, other gods were kind of competing with because they were still getting more. They were getting the passive. Hachi was just getting the passive plus the Eagle Eye. Now the passive's gone. Eagle Eye has even more value than it did before. So Hachi's pretty cracked, just to be honest with you. Now we've updated most of Smite Source as well for builds because builds are wild. They are, I mean, they're insane right now. Okay. So here is Hachi. We have lifesteal build will be on top because it's the one we put in last. This build looks weird. It's all lifesteal and pen. This build, if any solos are walking at you, you can just sit there and auto them and you will outtrade them. Same with assassins. If assassins run at you, you can literally just sit there autoing them. You will outtrade them lifesteal. Sounds dumb, but it works. The thing with this build is it has downsides. No crit means your objective kill is slow. No double pen, so if someone is heavily tanky and they have anti-heal on you, you will struggle. And it does feel a little bit troll because your power spikes are weird. Also in lane, as soon as somebody goes upgraded executioner with anti-heal, you don't trade perfectly well. You still trade okay, but you don't trade great with your 1v1 power spikes. We talked about this build because it's a weird build. I had to get out of the way. There are like 6 hunter builds going around. This build is old, needs to be deleted. So just ignore this. There is a build that's basically this though, going around without the Titan's Bane. It's a leader's cowl and a devil's glove in this build. And it's the AA pen build. There's also a version of this AA pen build that's going around that has a different start to the hunter's cowl. It has the new mannequin scepter or mannequin's mace or whatever. They go that build so you can go a pen attack speed build and still kill objectives. Doesn't compete with crit. Crit still out kills objectives. I think this build is troll. This build essentially makes it so assassins can still gank you and fight you and dive you in team fights and beat you. This build hits for 900 to 1100 full build on squishies. It still gives you double pen to deal with the solos diving you, and it gives you double life steal to trade with the solos diving you. So you can still kill objectives, you still deal with solos decently, you can still dumpster assassins, and you have good objective play. You go heal off the lane because you still have double life steal. This build, in my opinion, is by far the strongest, very consistently. I've played against people running this build. I've run this build. The only downside to the build is your crit doesn't come online until late. So you really aren't feeling the crit spike until your full build. However, hunters are supposed to be playing for max farm, max gold, and max items. You're playing for 25 to 30 minutes full build. So this is the build I would highly recommend. Your power spikes are similar to pretty much all the other builds, except for you round it out with a large amount of crit. And you can still kill solos at this point when you have 3 items. So you have flat pen, percent pen, percent pen. I highly recommend you run this build. Just straight up, I see a lot of that pen attack speed build with oboe and kins and all that getting roasted by high level players saying it's bad. I don't think you should be running it. I've also seen another build where rage is being built randomly. Hunters are weird. I know a lot of you are watching this are hunter players. A lot of the top end hunters are weird. They change their build at least once a week. I don't know why. I've never understood it. And then once pro play starts, they all fall back into this very basic build, which will probably not even look like this. It'll probably be a crit here. It'll probably be like a demon blade here and then be this build once some kind of competitive play starts. But it happens every year. Month or two goes by of just different build every week, and then they go back to the beginning build. Run this build for now. Enjoy yourself. Realize it's strong. If you want to try the lifesteal build, that's, go for it. I thought it was pretty fun. It just had weird power spikes, so I like the crit better, especially with dealing with assassins. I think the crit is better. So that's just where we're at right now. Okay. Hachi number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list, in my opinion, shouldn't be that surprising. It's Anhur. Anhur's passive is very, very strong. With the change to the class passive, Anhur really doesn't lose much. Great aggression in lane, so being able to fight in this meta is really valuable because after the initial jungle rotation at like level 3, level 2, level 3, you usually have big gaps of time where you can fight with your support. The lane is bigger, it's wider, there's an objective to fight over in the shield buff, so having an aggressive fighting hunter has a ton of value. The one downside to Anhur is his clear isn't the best. It's not bad, it's just not the best. So you need to make sure you can fight and you are capable of fighting and you're willing to fight with your abilities, because you have so much CC and setup between your 1 and 2. You've got good dive or disengage capability of your 3, and your ultimate hits very, very hard. Your ultimate, if you didn't know, it hits 8 times. At max rank, it's hitting for 165 plus 30% of your physical power, which is usually around, like, we'll say you have 300 physical power, so we'll pretend this is hitting for like 90, right? So you're hitting for 255 8 times. That's 2,000 damage. Obviously some will get scaled down, but if you can hit a whole ult, you're killing people. Like, even the low rank is killing someone. Say this low rank is hitting 78, let's say 80, right? Hitting 88 times. That's a lot of damage. Like a ton of damage. You're hitting for 600, 700, 800 damage off of an ultimate on a hunter, assuming you can hit them all, so get consistent with it. Builds for Anhur are the same. All these ADC builds, if they're not ability hunters, are going to be the same. So you go to Anhur on here, you'll see the lifesteal build that you saw on Hachi. You will see this crit build. And honestly, I'm going to go through, I think I'm going to have all these updated, so these builds are here just so you know they exist. I just don't recommend the A-pen build. I recommend the crit build overall. Your choice. Try them out. See which one works for you. See which one's consistent. You'll be good to go. That's number 2 on our list. Number 3 on our list is another exploiter of crits, similar to Hachi, just slightly different. So Hachi's long range 1 plus the scaling I talked about makes that one of the best crit abilities and crit, enhancers in the game. The next best, in my opinion, is Ishtar, because Ishtar has that same ranged auto attacks. It's more than 4. Hachi's only got 4 of them, so you get more off, but you don't get the same scaling. You get a little bit, you get your value out of it, but it's not the same scaling. Ishtar's clear, though, compared to Hachi and Anhur, is pretty much the best out of any hunter you're probably going to run. Your jungle clear is nuts, so you should get the lane first, and then your wave clear is nuts. You do that by doing the AoE pod shots on the 1, because it hits all of them and it just clears insanely fast. You've also got the ultimate, which is going to be great lockdown, peel, or initiation for team fights. You have good poke out of your 2, and then you have a semi-immunity. It's not really an immunity, but a way to avoid damage out of your 3 and also get you distance. So you still have the movement that you need. You aren't quite as safe as Hachi, and you don't scale quite the exact same as Hachi. Just a lot of value on this god. I know some, like Rogue Throne, one of my friends that I've played with from the community, he just got back into playing Smite after not playing pretty much for like a year or 2. He is like 9-0 on Ishtar. Just as an example of someone who isn't necessarily like he's a, you know, a very borderline diamond player, but he's killing it with Ishtar. I think Ishtar will fit most of your all's playstyle, so I think that's a really good god to pick up for you. The builds for this are also the same. Now that we're on the third god talking about the same builds, I know it's going to come up in the comments is why isn't every build different? These hunters play the same. The optimal builds on most roles, if the gods play the same, are going to be the exact same builds. So these three hunters are not ability hunters, which is the only other type of hunter there is. So you either have your AA style hunter, like these three, or an ability style hunter. So we've got another same build. Once again, crit. I think with Ishtar, crit is even crazier than Anhur. Up to you to try it. I would recommend crit build again. This lifesteal build is just something that I ran a lot. It felt good. I've seen a lot of my community talk about it feeling good. Cyclone tweeted it originally and I thought it was troll. I tried it. I was like, why does this work? Tried it again. I was like, okay, why does this feel good? Tried it again and realized I could out trade soul inners. And I was like, okay, I have to at least acknowledge the build exists. So that's why you're seeing it here, even though I'm recommending the crit build. Crit build, if you don't have the crit build, it feels like a really long fight and you have to be hyper consistent with your autos. So with the lifesteal build, you might auto 10 times and it's a longer fight. You just get a better trade out of it. With the crit build, you auto 2 times, 3 times, you might kill somebody. So it's a bigger, I'd say, skill gap too between the two builds. So just stick with the crit build. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. That is number 3 on our list. Number 4 on our list is another AA god. It's Rama. It's Rama. You're a pure AA god, so you can crit a lot really fast, really hard. Value, right? So you're gonna go the crit build. You've got an ultimate that can buy you time. You can also dive with the ultimate. That's the upside of Rama that most people don't acknowledge. If you don't understand why I'm saying this, so you have something that enhances your autos, your 1, right? Something that enhances your autos, your 2. A slight movement in your 3, so slight, because it's not a long dash. It'll keep you kind of safe. And then your ultimate. Your ultimate's the big... It's a dive ultimate, and it sounds weird. Yes, it will buy you time if you're being dove or collapse on. But the big thing with this ultimate is in late game team fights, you can pump out 500 to 1500 damage onto a mage or a hunter that your jungler and solo are also diving. There are not a lot of gods that dive into the deep backline as a carry. You've got like your Chernobog, you know, maybe your Nuwa ultimates from the mages. Like there aren't a lot. Rama does it consistently, and it's very good. So if you ever are in a team fight playing Rama, you see your jungle dive in the backline, your Rat ults, your Thor ults, your Merc ult in, whatever. You see your Nem ult into the backline, whatever it is. Blink goes off. Go up in there and just snipe their target. It might not seem like a lot because you're so far away, but it is a lot. It'll turn a fight very quickly. You can't die while you're in the air and you're doing this damage, so you're very, very valuable to your team fight. Rama's still killing it, just not as safe as a god as some of these other ones because that role is a shorter role. You need to be very confident in your autos. Once again, not even to show the build, go the crit build. All right, go the crit build. Now our number 5 slot. I personally don't think any mages are worth playing in that lane. Nobody touches them. They aren't doing very much. Crit and hunters are just too strong for you to give up having one. Now if you have a mid lane hunter, maybe you have an argument there, but realistically just stick to hunters. Now I'm between 3 hunters. All right. All the hunters are pretty much playable right now. I'd say Scotty is weaker, but honestly, they're all playable right now. Just straight up. So none of them are bad. If you're very low end, Izanami will give you guaranteed clear, but Izanami is not the best hunter. She's got no CC immunity. She's easy to dive. You know, once the other team has an Erendite on their assassin, you're pretty much screwed if you're trying to run away. Doesn't work out. Now, there's 3 other ones that I would swap between the 3. Chernobog, who was one of the top 2 to 3 hunters last season all year long, still very, very good. The one thing about Chernobog is your rotation can kind of be matched by the teleporters. At the same time, if you teleport over to a lane, get a quick kill, you can just teleport back. You don't miss any farm. So there's a flip side of that. So I like Chernobog a lot for that reason. Still very safe god, still good clear. Just doesn't have the same oomph he had last season. Still very, very good. I would argue top 3 if the other top 3 weren't so strong right now. Then I have Marticarus because I wanted to put an ability hunter in here, and I think Marticarus is crazy. The ability hunters are hitting hard again. You're seeing them more in mid than you are in duo, but in duo it still works. You trade great. You still get some value out of crit. You're still doing a lot. So for Marticarus, I'm hoping the build is up here. I could have sworn it was, but I you know, I don't want to sit here and say for sure. Yeah. Okay. So this is the build. Essentially. Yes, this is the build. You're obviously going to upgrade your Transcendence. Brawlers is going to give you the anti-heal to trade with some of the hunters and to deal with a little bit of the diving. The problem with this is you don't have sustain. You have to play this in the late game fights similar to your mage and just be all about your damage limitations, which means you have to learn to play the game completely different from a normal hunter. So if you were to, you know, that's your style, your gameplay, the way you like to play. You have good clear, you have good lane control, you have a good team fight. Your objective play isn't that bad. You do only have one crit item, but it doesn't matter. This build hits very, very hard. Between your your ultimate, you're killing most assassins as long as you hit the whole thing pretty easily. I would not really recommend the 2 AA builds on Marticarus. I'd pretty much only recommend the ability build. So, you know. Then my last god is, I'd say a weirder god, and this is more of, I'm throwing this out there because you know, the way I think about the game is how can we play into what's currently strong. So if you look at the gods, one of the best tank killing hunters that really doesn't get any credit and hasn't for a long time is Charybdis. So I'm not sitting here for sure telling you Charybdis is the guaranteed top 5. But I think Charybdis is being slept on a little bit, and it's because of the 2. Your 2 is pen. It's that simple. If you've never read the ability, it's pen. Physical protection reduction 40%. It's also a slow. It's also a good lane fight mechanic. So this allows you to fight into supports. This allows to fight you into solos. You've also got a good safety net in your 3, and you got a CC immune ultimate. So, and your clear is fairly good. On paper, this god really should have no downside at all. And I think the one reason that people don't like Charybdis is because your laning 1v1 is not great. It's not bad, but it's not insane. You would play this god more around team fighting, which is how, you know, every game turns into 30 minutes, turns into a team fight. So Charybdis on my list of what I think some people might need to start looking at playing if they are really struggling with solos, diving them. I'm obviously not an ADC main, but I've played a lot of ADC. You know, the last couple months, people thought I was an ADC main, thought I swapped roles. I didn't. I was just playing it a lot as I liked it. I actually don't like it that much right now, but I have played it a lot already this year. And Charybdis is one of those gods that I'm on the watch for, essentially. And because every hunter is about the same level except for your top 3 to 4, I have to throw Charybdis into the conversation. Now, as I've mentioned multiple times, most hunters are able to be played. I would avoid Neath, in my opinion. I would avoid Scotty. Ullin lane's a little questionable. And then outside of that, you're looking at clear and safety. So CST immunity movement. So gods like Hou-Yi, no clear, no safety. Xbalanque, clear is okay, but not really the safest. Jingwei, very safe. Laning phase clear is okay. Heimdall's very safe, but you have to be a good mechanical player. So there's these other gods that definitely have to be mentioned and are good and worth playing. And picking any of these hunters, you're not trolling just because you pick one of these other hunters, but you are avoiding some of those top gods. If you do play that Charybdis, by the way, crit build still. I would just run the crit build. The big thing with Charybdis is 1, if I'm not mistaken, used to interact really weird with kins, if I'm not mistaken. So that was when Charybdis originally fell off back in the day, and then through nerfs and everything else. But I think we need to look at her for her ability to kill solos. I'm just throwing it out there. I think she's going to shred some solo winners, especially the AA ones that are more hybrid-y built. I think she'll just melt through them. Throwing it out there. Hopefully this video helps you. I'm sure the YouTube comments will be filled with, what do you mean, Charybdis? But play it. Try it. Let me know how it goes. If you're an ADC main, just remember that ultimate is not a damaging ultimate. It is a CC immunity for you to run away, and it is also a setup for your team. It is not a damage. It is not pumping damage. Just remember that when you use that ultimate. So hopefully the video helps you. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. I've got a lot of these videos I'm cranking out. I've got a list of just content I gotta record. So hopefully you are liking the videos, and I will see you in the video later tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.